All right. My premise is the U.S. government is not morally justified, either economically or philosophically, to coercively interfere in the affairs of other countries. I want to start by getting to the root cause of why we would want to be an empire. As Thomas Sowell says, the purpose of being an empire is to be left alone.
Well,
However,
it's not our empire,
we
Keith. You keep
are
forgetting
not
that
being.
someone else's empire we're fighting for. Sorry to interrupt,
You,
but someone else's
I was
empire.
expecting the opposition to interrupt me. I was not expecting friendly fire. So if you could mute
I'm just saying, man, we all
the
know
woman,
whose empire.
if you could mute the woman in the bottom right indefinitely, I would appreciate it. So the reason is, well, we have to go to war, or else we will get attacked. Our citizens are at risk. I want to first refute this by quoting Osama bin Laden's own words in Tactical Recommendations. He says, then the fighters realized that the gang in the White House could not see things clearly, and that their leader, that idiot they obey, was claiming that we envied their lifestyle, when the truth, which this pharaoh would like to hide, is that we are attacking them because of their injustice toward the Muslim world, and especially Palestine and Iraq, as well as their occupation of the land of the two sanctuaries. Clear as day. The reason that we are hated by strangers on the other side of the planet is as a causal result of the actions our government has taken. In bin Laden's message to the American people, he says, peace be with those who follow the righteous path. American people, my speech to you is about the very best way to avoid a repeat of the performance in Manhattan, as well as the causes and consequences of war. By way of introduction, let me say that security is an indispensable pillar of human life, and that free men do not forfeit their security, contrary to Bush's claim that we hate freedom. If that were true, let him explain to us why we do not attack Sweden, for example. The reason we are hated by the Muslim world is because of the actions of our government. Turns out the same reasons I hate Washington, D.C. for coercively interfering in my life, as do Muslims across the world. In bin Laden's second letter, why are we fighting you? He says, we seek Allah's help. We form our reply based on two questions directed at the Americans. Why are we fighting and opposing you? Two, what are we calling on you to do, and what do we want from you? As for the first question, why are we fighting and opposing you? The answer is very simple. Because you attacked us and continue to attack us. You attacked us in Palestine, which has sunk under military occupation for more than 80 years. The British handed over Palestine with your help and your support to the Jews who have occupied it for more than 50 years. He later says, you have starved millions of Muslims in Iraq, where children die every day. More than 1.5 million Iraqi children have died as a result of your sanctions. It has nothing to do with freedom. I think they could probably care less whether or not we have a regulatory state. They do care if we have bases in the Middle East. You can hear the left crying, oh, Putin interfered in our sacred democracy by having a couple ads on Facebook. But if you station troops in another country, well, just as the Democrats are mad about alleged Putin interference, the Muslims are mad at American interference. Here's the empirical data collected by Robert Pape and James K. Feldman. This is the first complete data set of all suicide terrorist attacks around the planet between 1980 and 2009. Number one on the list was not a Muslim organization. It was the Tamil Tigers, a secular Hindu group who carried out more attacks than Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PIJ, combined during this period. Nearly all emerged from communities resisting foreign occupation. The research goes on to quote 3 of the alleged Saudi hijackers on 9/11. First one says, what is happening in Muslim countries today? Blatant occupation, about which there is no doubt there is no duty more obligatory after faith to repel him. Second quote, the occupation and deterioration of the land of the two sanctuaries is a plot by the Jews and Nazarenes, foremost among them America. May Allah destroy it, which has been among the chief causes of every misfortune surrendered by Islam and to the Muslims. Thus, repelling the Americans occupying the land of the two holy sanctuaries is the most obligatory of obligations. Finally, and I say to America, if it wants its armies and people to be safe, then it must withdraw all of its troops from foreign lands and depart from all countries. If not, let it await the men, prepare its coffins, and dig graves for its citizens. The authors then go on to say, well, we don't get foreign terrorist attacks from Iran, which has a population bigger than Syria, Jordan, and Iraq combined. It has nothing to do with Islam. It has everything to do with the government coercively interfering in the lives of others. Finally, what the neocons will say is, well, World War II happened. Therefore, all future interventions are morally justified. Here's Winston Churchill on the Second World War. He says, one day, President Roosevelt told me that he was asking publicly for suggestions about what the war should be called. I said it once, the unnecessary war. There never was a war more easy to stop than that which has just wrecked what was left of the world from the previous struggle. The human tragedy reaches its climax in the fact that after all the exertions and sacrifices of hundreds of millions of people and the victories of the righteous cause, we have still not found peace or security, and that we lie in the grip of even worse perils than those we have surmounted. It is my earnest hope that pondering upon the past may give guidance in days to come, enable a new generation to repair some of the errors of former years. So what is he talking about there? What he's saying is that after 60 million dead as a cause result of the Second World War and allying with Joseph Stalin and the Bolshevik regime, by 1945, the Red Army occupied all the great capitals of Central Europe: Vienna, Prague, Budapest, Berlin. 100 million Christians were under the heel of the most barbarous tyranny in history, the Bolshevik regime. War is immoral because it involves initiating violence against peaceful people, and it is uneconomic and not beneficial to the host country initiating the wars because it weakens them more so than they otherwise would. That is my argument for why foreign intervention is not morally or economically justified.